This is Trophy Gold, Panning the Last River, Part 4, the final part of this series. We left the characters with a lot of big things happening, actually. So they had just penetrated the Suda Vault, and everybody had found at least one really fabulous treasure. But there were some other things going on as well. Cassian encountered a sister on the banks of the now smoky river, and she didn't identify herself at the moment, but I will tell you she will. Her name is Saint Nia, Nia, and she is the saint of like darkness and the starry sky. Now, we don't know what she's there for, and we don't know if she has any intentions for Cassian. Cassian approached her, but nevertheless, that's a thing that's going on. Also, Team Cockatrice has showed up in the observatory of the manor, and we think that they are getting ready to come into the pseudo vault as well. Now, this is an interesting little subplot here because Aram found this snake that the Naganese noble is looking for, but Aram doesn't know anything about that. Soren, however, does know exactly what that Naganese noble wants, and so that is a thing that's probably going to like play out, right? And I gather that Obeha is quickly putting on the dress that they found across the river, so they have armor to wear. So that is a thing as well. Now, I have to tell you, it's sort of out of character information, but it's important, I think. The trap into the observatory is triggered, but you don't know what it does yet, but you're going to have to deal with it once you get out of the pseudo vault. There is also probably another chaos rat somewhere in the house. There's also an unexplored cellar area, which might stay unexplored, but in any case, it's down there. What else is going on? Team Cockatrice, the rat, the trap, the sister. You do have to get back to camp in order to conclude the incursion. Now, you got a couple of options there when we get there, but the one way that most of you came is now flooded, and so that might change the environment a little bit. But there's also the way that Aram came, so we'll see how that goes. But Team Cockatrice came up that way, and so we don't know what that has to do with that particular path either, so there could be some trouble there. So I bring all that up because Trophy Gold is a play to win and play to lose game, and there is a distinct possibility that your character may flip over to the play to lose side of the ledger, and I don't want you to be surprised about it. So just know that. Taking a look at the blocks of the character blocks. Oh, another thing too. Most everyone has conditions, and those conditions have particular valence at different points in everything I've just talked about. So just know that. But Obeha, 4 burdens, 2 gold plus some treasure, and 5 ruin. That's not great. Soren, 4 burdens, 1 gold, also a bunch of treasure, and 4 ruin. But the punctured flesh condition could be a problem. Cassian, 4 burdens, no gold in cash, but a fair amount of treasure actually, and no tokens and 4 ruin. Cassian, didn't you find it was the journal? Yeah, the journal about the Kalduhr you found out. You've got right. You've got a good little amount. Aram has 3 burdens, no gold in cash, but also quite a lot of treasure. No tokens and 4 ruin. I think everyone is probably, I think the probably most, well, I think we should probably look at armor too, because that could be important as well. And taking a look at armor, because that might give us a better sense of what's really going on with these characters. Obeha has a piece. Soren does not. Cassian does not. But Aram does. So it's a mixed bag on survivability, but we'll see how it goes. I think you're going to need to use all of your skills and wits and rituals to get out of all this safely. Are there any questions or anything that we need to be reminded of before we begin? Okay, then, with all that said, I want to pick up with Cassian and Saint Nia. Cassian, you described Saint Nia as her vestments looking like the starry sky, right? Which I think is interesting. And she actually said that she knows what you did to be a runaway Kingsguard. And I can't remember if you've actually shared that with us or not, but it might be a good time to do that now. Like, what did Cassian do that caused Cassian to run away? Or what was the situation?
So I think last session, in one of the little like flashbacks or memories when we were on the river, I mentioned Cassian being on like a barge of confiscated goods that he in turn had stolen from other Kingsguard. And that's sort of when he became a smuggler.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think that's kind of when it turned, where it had been building up. He'd been having those like, wait, are we the bad guys moments of being in the Kingsguard. But I think it was when there was just a whole bunch of confiscated goods that he saw each person they kind of took from. Maybe it was sort of like a tax, and just realized they were straight up robbing people. Had enough of it and realized he could make off with it with a couple friends and do the same thing, but without being connected to the Kingsguard. So he kind of exited, but not in the most morally upstanding way, I guess.
Saint Nia says, "It is very ironic that you find yourself here in the vault of another, purloining goods that don't belong to you. And I'll remind you that the vault in question is this sort of pocket dimension, right? Which looks like a large, vast dimension, but is quaintly referred to as a pseudo vault." And she says, "I do wonder if I might be able to persuade you to purloin one extra thing from the vault."
An extra thing. I know so little. He definitely wants to hear what this is.
She says, "I myself am being kept here against my will. The sorcerer Vero believed that plucking me from my home in the heavens would allow him to have mastery over the energy of the stars, the power of the night sky. I don't know how far he got, but I do know that I cannot leave this place because there is a guardian in the basement of his home. And if I try to leave the premises, it will not allow it. But of course, I could leave entirely of my own volition if someone were to destroy the guardian."
Cassian is not necessarily one who's believed in the sisters, but is probably, muttered a desperate prayer, curse here and there, and is thinking of how to address her. Eventually just says, "Mother, if that is grandmother, perhaps, if that is a way I can address you, if I help you, will you help me get out of here alive? I've taken many hits along the way, and I'm vulnerable again without armor."
She says, "Yes, I can help you. If you clear my passage, I shall clear yours in turn. And you need not refer to me by anything other than simply Nia. The sisters were people just like you. The fact that we are venerated in the histories does not change that fact."
I'll do what I can.
And she goes back to tending, or, kind of running her hands through the river, which is now just rivulets of smoke going through her fingers. Let's just pick up three of you, the rest of you, hearing Team Cockatrice in the tower, and having each found a fabulous treasure. But maybe, I guess I'm really particularly curious, and this can be an out of character thing, but I'm very curious if Aram makes Soren aware of the snake that Aram found, because that feels like an important detail here to establish.
I don't think I'm shy about the treasure that I have, and I'm sitting here like weaving a basket for a while too with it. So
Oh, that's a
whether
good
they
point.
see
Yeah,
it
yeah.
or I'm
Right,
like,
yeah,
look
yeah.
what I found. Like I think
Yeah.
it's general knowledge.
That's a fair thing. Well, then, Soren, what do you do?
He plays it cool. This is it's an interesting specimen. Say,
Isn't it just though? And I start like playing my flute to like lure it into the basket.
mm-hmm. Well, you know, snakes are natural predators of rats. Perhaps it's best that you let me hold on to it. I wouldn't want anything to happen to the royal court. And he gestures towards the cage.
Oh, this basket is plenty sturdy. I'm not concerned about that. Besides, I've got plans for this beauty.
What kind of plans?
Sell it, of course. Look at it. It's magnificent. The small details on its scales.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little old, but I see it fetching maybe 3 gold at least. But listen, I wasn't going to share this with anybody else, but I did find this, and he shows off the hand.
Oh my. Well, that's magnificent.
I know, it's quite the thing. My appraisal sets it at about 6 gold. And well, snake of yours, would you be interested in something of a trade?
I do always like to point out, particularly for people watching the video, that the characters do not speak in terms of gold.
okay.
It's
Right.
I mean, that's totally fine. I imagine
in brackets.
Yeah, there's brackets.
It's worth.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
$100, yeah. It is an abstraction, but yeah.
Sorry about that,
That's very generous of you. My snake is worth perhaps half of that, but yes, I would be willing to trade. I know you have some affinity for these creatures. That would be agreeable to me.
Very well then. Do you mind throwing in the basket though?
You can have the basket, of course. Please keep it in the basket, or my rats may suffer the worse for wear.
Of course. And we'll trade it off.
And while that's happening, you overhear Soren over your shoulder, the Naganese noble, as he's stepped apparently at some point through the portal and now approached you. And the rest of Team Cockatrice are a little bit behind him. And he says, even though you managed to give my little binding agent the slip, you have nevertheless managed to retrieve the fabulous treasure. And what do you do?
I'm nothing if not a man of my word. But I present this to you and we're clear, right? No debts.
You just give it to me free and clear. I can't remember. What did you guys work out as a deal?
I believe it was I would help him find the snake in exchange for my life.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says, yes, I would feel somewhat uncomfortable not paying you something for it. But of course. And he kind of leans in and he says, listen, I consider myself a fair person. And even though you giving me the snake is in payment of your life debt to me, I will need help extracting myself and the snake from Team Cockatrice they don't know what I'm here to do. So perhaps you could rally your team. Did you ever come up with a name for your team, incidentally? You could rally your team and, well, put mine to the sword, and then I've got a sack of silver with your name on it.
Well, the Langris leeches are on the case. And he slaps his shoulder. And he turns to the others. Hello. Are we all good? Are we what are you doing? And he looks over at Kazian. Who is that?
Obeha, you can be done putting on this fabulous seafoam green gown. And you will notice, Obeha, the rest of Team Cockatrice coming through the portal.
Shit.
There are 3 of them. They are armed about as well as all of you are. They are not necessarily any more skillful or dangerous than anybody else that you might expect to find in the camp, but nevertheless, they could be a problem. If you end up fighting them, they'll be probably, I'd say, an endurance 9.
Okay. But they have not seen us yet.
I think they are definitely becoming increasingly aware of the situation. There aren't too many places to go. And,
okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
What
do you do?
Well, I see like Aram and Sorm talking to one of the members of Team Cockatrice.
Yes, this member of Team Cockatrice is wearing a tabard that looks like it's actually made of fine blue snake scales, and they have a look that is, you may not know, maybe you do as a Faeborn, I don't know, but it's this sort of Naganese look. Eyes that are yellow, a certain serpentine quality to their bone structure.
Yes, Soren. Is this the fellow that you were talking about before? The one that had a snake motif, as it were?
Yes, this is my good colleague Obeha.
Yes. I have actually employed Team Leech into my service, and the job which I have set you to is rapidly approaching from the rear.
He means we need to get out without them seeing. Question, and if this is too far using skills, just let me know. But because I have herb skills, and because this is basically like a riverbank, would I be able to look around or maybe like find some combination of herbs in this area that, if maybe set alight by someone else, would cause enough like of some kind of smoke screen that we would be able to like slip at?
Oh, I like it. I think there's probably enough like plant life in general if you want to just do that. Are you willing to take the die roll and to do it? Yeah. Is everyone okay with slipping back out the portal?
Yeah, I think at some point Obeha needs to talk to Soren at some point, because I cannot get into another fight or else I'm probably going to die.
That's fair.
I like the die roll. If everybody's cool with slipping out, we can let you handle it, Soren, and you can take help from the others if you need it.
Yeah, if so, I'm sure Soren would like point at different herbs and tell the others to pick them up for him.
Yeah, it's good. Okay, so creating a smoke screen to escape is the stakes. What could go wrong? Everyone else gets to say what they think could go wrong here.
The grass is too moist and damp to actually ignite properly.
If we want to be more extreme, we burn the wrong herbs, and well, they're kind of toxic, so
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm thinking there's like a chaos aspect here. Like maybe you shouldn't be starting fires in the middle of a chaos pocket dimension. Okay. Dice. I'll take herbs for your first light die. Devil's bargains. My devil's bargain is no matter what, the first person out of the portal has to deal with the trap on the door to the observatory.
I would maybe even put a finer point on it because it would be ironic since Soren has routinely dodged and is in fact trying to make a smokescreen to get out, that he would be the one, no matter what, to have to deal with whatever trap is on the other side of that portal.
Soren does all the dangerous stuff right at the very end of the incursion.
Different framing of the same thing, but no matter what, Soren has to deal at least one round of combat with Team Cockatrice.
Just Soren.
This is a bit abstract, but interacting with that raw chaos, no matter what, the smoke will send some kind of signal that will be picked up by
I can
something
play
else.
with that. Yeah, I can play with that. I like it. Okay, sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll take David's finer points of me having to confront the trap.
I'm surprised you didn't like voice it on someone else with mine. Okay, good. Okay, great.
I
You
think
got
he has a
two
sense of urgency right now, so it makes
you have
sense.
you have two light dice. I'm not going to make it be a
Right.
dark die yet, because I think if you fail, it's not so much a matter of like danger from the smoke or anything. It's more you just have to engage combat with Team Cockatrice. So go ahead and roll 2 light. Oh no, you're doing a ritual. No, you're not doing a ritual. You're doing a skill. So never mind. 6 light. Awesome. This is gonna work. Go ahead and describe how everybody escapes.
Yeah, so after directing everyone to pick the right herbs, he'll gather them up, and he'll look to the Naganese royal. Got a light.
Iram flicks his Swiss Army prosthetic hand with some kind of spinning wheel that produces sparks.
There's a flint and steel on one of the fingers.
That'll do. And he'll hold it to the flint, and it'll start to catch flame. On my go, everyone run. Go. And he'll mash it up. As it's on fire, it's starting to singe his hands, but it's also starting to burn into this purple and blue and red smoke that kind of matches the colors of the chaos energy here. And it's just filling this entire space, the entire entrance and exit to this vault. And yeah, I would think it's opaque enough that everyone could move out safely.
Yeah, that's great. That works. You are the first one out, Soren, and the blue energy around the door to the observatory, practically the moment you step out of the portal, it starts to crackle and sizzle and sort of generate a single point of power in the center of the doorway that is swelling. It looks like whatever's about to happen here, it's about to explode all over you. What do you do?
Seeing this and realizing the irony that he left first, and that this is going to happen, I think he's smart enough to know that this is focused on him, and so I think he's going to do the ritual numb to at least reduce sensation in his own body, so that whatever hits him, he doesn't at least feel.
That's good. You're almost like a lightning rod for the group. Yeah, that's good. I will also tell you, as you're escaping, Cassian, the window reappears in the tower. So that is a way you can go out. It is the way that leads to the cellar, Cassian. I assume you have not yet told the others about what Saint Nia wants.
But that's where the guardian is, right? So I don't lose track. Okay.
Yeah, cool. That's what. Yeah, the guardian's in the cellar.
Okay.
And there was at least one chaos rat down in the cellar. We don't know if there were more, but in any case, okay, Soren, let's do it. Everyone, what could go wrong here?
Numbing yourself does not protect you from the strike.
Yeah, it because I imagine like chaos energy, it's less of a physical damaging effect, but more of a random like wild magic surge, and who knows what that could do.
Yeah, it numbs other senses or just messes with your senses in some longer lasting way.
I like all those. Let's talk dice. Do you have a skill here, Soren, that would be helpful? Or a piece of equipment, maybe? Like a metal thing.
Yeah. I mean, I guess he could maybe use his sawtooth blade to maybe like make a cut of his own on himself.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. I'm into it. One light die. Devil's bargain. I'll make my offer first. My offer is you take the condition electric.
No matter what, you're going to have to cut off a body part.
No matter what, this bolt is physically transformative of you. Like it changes you somehow.
It gives you the condition electric.
It gives you the condition Snake Man.
Kind of riding off of that, no matter what some of that blue glow just like becomes a part of you and doesn't go away.
Oh yeah, that's what. No matter what oh no, you already traded the golden snake. No, yeah, I'll leave mine the way it was. Just kidding.
I'm going to note as well, Soren, that your punctured wounds condition is going to be a problem here because of the pain, or just maybe it makes your blood sizzle. I don't know. There's, who knows? But that adds an extra dark die to the roll. So, are you going to take one of these deals?
Yeah. I want to know what it's like to be electric. So I'll take that.
You have 2 light and 2 dark. Go ahead and roll.
That's a
6
6 on the light.
Yeah, that's great. You're being the die roll is being very kind to you. It's rewarding your bravery, Soren. Everyone will escape. You will be left with a faint blue ethereal glow. Go ahead and or sort of that's not the right word. What's the word when like there's electricity in the air? There's a word there. Missing it.
Like galvanic?
Like ozone. Not ozone. It's a word like that. In any case, please describe how everyone is able to escape. The question, though, is: are you all escaping through the tower, like back down the stairs to the base of the manor, or are you going back out the window?
Is the rope still there?
Sure.
Ram would jump for the window. He knows the horrors that are in this house.
Yeah, exactly. Better than everybody else does.
I don't think Cassian does, and he would make a case for the basement, recalling the offer made to him.
Well, since Team Cockatrice probably won't get fooled by the smoke screen for long, going through the window, which has a tendency to close and reopen, like that seems our best bet to like delay them even further.
Sounds good. Soren, please describe everyone's safe escape.
I think everyone's able to jump towards the window as they please, but because Soren was at the front, he's the first to notice this blue crackle and stops in his place as he feels the magic. And it just releases this blast of energy, of wild chaos energy, and it slams him right directly in the chest. And he evaporates essentially for a moment. And as everyone climbs out, it's too much panic to really be concerned about him at this moment. But as they hit the ground, they would notice that like little sparks of electricity are traveling down the wall, and then they regather, and it's just Soren, glowing blue on the ground, looking like just fried.
Nice, good. Everyone is at the base of the tower eventually, no matter how you get there. And you have a moment to recuperate Team Cockatrice is in the Suda Vault. We don't know what's going to happen with them. The Naganese noble is there as well. He presses a sack with 2 silver, or not 2 silver, a sack of silver worth 2 gold into your hands, Soren, and thanks you, and says, he basically says, come to Nagane after I have established my kingdom. You will have a place in my court if you wish.
It's a deal. He starts to stand up and try
He
to
hands you
dust
the
himself
silver.
off.
The silver kind of like crackles and pops as you put your hand into it. But the Naganese noble leaves in the direction that they originally came up, which is the way that Aram came, which you all can do. Except Cassian, the cellar door is there. So let's just have that scene with everyone.
I'll show you the short way down. Come on. No reason to get bogged down with any other teams that want to loot us. It's the way that that fella's going. It's a more direct path than I think the way that you came up. Cassian, you look as though you hesitate.
There is another path open to us. Soren, you saw the one I was speaking to on the river. It might be hard to believe, but maybe not after everything we've seen. I spoke to one of the sisters, and she is trapped here. She asks for our help, and there's something else in this basement for us. We just have to get past a guardian, free her from this place, perhaps while the other team's distracted. She will aid us in our escape. There seems to be so many obstacles in our way. I mean, just imagine if we could have someone, a celestial helper on our side.
I will tell you at this point, you all hear a great amount of screaming. It's faint, but there is screaming coming from the vicinity of the Panhandlers' camp.
That does not sound good. Cassian, are you a colony of saints? Is this perhaps one of the lost ones?
I don't think he understands. Am I a colony?
Yes, like Torellis and I. We are all, and I indicate the rats, a colony. We are all in this together. If this saint is part of your colony, then perhaps we ought to work together. Or do you consider yourself a humanitarian where all humans ought to be part of the same colony? Because those ones down there, indicating the screaming, I do not think they agree.
That colony's getting fucked right now. And so whatever's down there doing, whatever's happening down there is something you're probably going to deal with in some way.
I will say the sisters, even at their best of times, are not to be trusted.
I'm inclined to agree with Obe. I don't make it my business dealing with heretics. Well, what assurance has she given you that she'll actually get us out safely and that she's just not using us?
Well, none. But I can't help but think that the team cockatrice came there after us. So I'm more thinking, what happens if we don't take advantage of this situation? What deals will she offer them?
But there's
Yeah.
always a reason why powerful entities are trapped. You don't want them wandering out into the world. And for a sister to be trapped, maybe she is not as divine as you hope her to be.
Out of character, can't argue with that. But I think Cassian is a bit taken with, again, this celestial presence he just met. I think that is still affecting him a little bit. He's like, but perhaps we should at least try. That's all I know.
You're in front then.
I can be, but after what you've just done, Soren, you're becoming a leader yourself. You got us through that door. I'm actually quite impressed. You sure
Listen,
you don't want to take this turn?
I've gotten you all here safely, but I think this is your burden to bear.
It does sound like Cassian's quest. Though Soren's glow would be a welcome illumination in that dark place down there.
In the dark,
Obeha, how
yes.
is your frog-like body responding to Soren's electric mien?
I was originally going to go over to Soren and ask him for help, but Obeha like keeps on like eyeing Soren of like, oh no, that is dangerous. Like you would not jump into a pond during like a thunderstorm. This is just like that.
It seems like it's either see what's down here or and then kind of turning towards that awful screaming, go back there.
Screaming is starting to be punctuated by the tearing of flesh, the cracking of ribs, the
I
wet,
know this sounds
sloppy
like one.
hollowing out of torsos.
I know that sound quite well, friends. We should decide quickly.
How many more checks is this group going to write? Can they cash them? Let us see. Where are you headed? Cellar or down the cliff?
I'm leaving it up to Cassian.
Yep.
I'll
go to the cellar then.
Everyone else follows?
yeah.
Terrible
Like,
idea. Awesome.
Iram
Keeping a distance.
has convinced himself that Cassian is attempting a higher order of human love and affection. So he's here for it.
Yeah. You begin your journey. That's overstating the case. You begin your way down the darkened steps. I think probably Soren does illuminate the journey a little bit down the steps. It's faint blue. You still can't see much though. And the stairs are surprisingly long. They think this goes pretty deep. As you get down lower, you hear two things in the darkness. One, a trickle of water, running water. Two, a voice. The voice is talking to itself, seemingly. They call us the splash upon the bank. I suffer this insult because soon I will learn how to set you free, my river. You will drown this world. Listen to the screams down below. They call for you. They crave your cleansing waters. We have supplicants on the steps. Let us go and greet them. Let's take a 5-minute break. You get to the bottom of the stairs. And whatever light sources you have with you, whether that be Soren or a torch or a lantern, the stairs actually just lead to a sort of underground cave, and you are on the top of a little ridge that sort of snakes or kind of wraps down around the center of the space to the bottom. The bottom of this cave area, which is about, I'd say about 15 or 20 feet down, there is this inky black river flowing through. Now, Kalduhr is a land of wolves. It's a land of a few things. It's a land of snakes. It's a land of trees. It's a land of wolves. And there's a wolf here. This wolf seems to be part of the river. It is quite large. I'd say it's about 12 feet tall at the shoulder. And it is made of the same inky black liquid that flows through the river. This wolf, the splash on the bank, is aware of you. Obeha, you are aware that the wolf has another one of these gems in it, holding it together, much like the statue had back in Creve, and which you took into your body at one point and then ejected, which opened the portal. But in any case, that's a note. But you're all there. The wolf can reach you easily, and it is padding across the river to meet you. What do you all do?
I think when Soren sees it, he steps away as much as he can and just gestures towards the river to Kazian. Your quest awaits.
I mean, it's pretty clearly fight this thing or flee, right?
You have time to do a ritual as well, if you wanted to do that. Maybe a ritual to reduce its endurance. If you were going to, if you fight its endurance 11, you could maybe use a ritual to reduce that. Or if somebody wants to swing a risk roll to find some other way of defeating it, I'm open to that as well.
So thoughts I have, Cassian has the hasten ritual. And I was thinking you could try to, so he has a grappling hook and grease. And I was thinking maybe if I can like basically throw grease on it, attach like a grappling hook to it, and someone else can set it on fire, something like that to just like wound it or tangle it up somehow. He might be able to prepare this faster using the hasten ritual.
I also have a bear trap if anyone wants to
Oh, sure.
throw that in there.
I mean, I like the idea of the hasten as you've described it as a way of reducing the endurance of the creature. I think that would be an interesting approach. Per the rules, you can reduce it 1 or 2, I think. I need to look up that rule. I always forget. In my defense, it's one of the newer rules. So let's see here. Combat. Yeah. You can weaken it. You cannot directly participate in the combat, however, Cassian, in that case, but you can weaken it. And if you get a 6 on the ritual roll to weaken it, it reduces endurance by 2. So you could theoretically knock this thing down to a 9, making it very manageable for the rest of the group. If you want to go that route.
Definitely to try. Does anyone have a better idea? I'm just throwing together things I have on me. I mean, bear trap, some sort of snare.
Oh, I'm just looking through like everybody's stuff, and Soren still like has a use of troll blood, which could help.
No, I already used that. I
Okay.
think.
Use
well,
that,
I used
yeah.
Okay. Well, then never mind.
So you're gonna hook it with the idea is you're gonna hook it with a grappling hook and light it on fire.
Or if I'm using Soren's bear trap, I also have glowworms. So maybe I can, again, move faster, try to set up a little distraction, get it to step in the bear trap.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you were grappling it, you could perhaps pull it into the bear trap.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's cool.
I don't know. And maybe this is another approach. It wouldn't lessen the endurance, but it might protect us because I know Obeya, you got ward, and it says it's just a small area. So I don't know
Yeah.
if maybe if it's like possible to ward us so that like we just take, we're less susceptible to the damage or.
Yeah, like, or just ward like the area just immediately like get down the steps where people could step like over like a threshold but have the creature like bounce off of it.
Yeah, I think that's probably an alternate way of lowering its endurance, right? Whichever approach you all want to take, I think is maybe the more interesting question here, or at least the decision that you have to make.
I think I'll probably do my ritual because like
Now be careful because you've got 5 ruin and it's
I
6
know,
dark.
I know, like
that's it, yeah.
like here's the thing, like if I get involved in the combats, it's more likely that I would increase my ruin because at least with the ritual, I have to roll a 6 on the dark die.
Right.
Whereas in the combat, it could be any number depending on what I roll for my weak point.
But you do get 1 freebie with the armor though.
Mm-hmm.
So you can survive at least 1 round of combat, right? Minimum. And potentially more.
Mm-hmm. Potentially.
So it's up to you. But
Yeah, up to you. I think narratively, I'm glad to. I mean, Cassian pushed for coming down here and feels like this is a quest. So I'm glad to have him at least start out attempting a ritual.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
If I use my armor, however, then I won't be able to make my burdens. So that's the thing.
oh no, it still counts. You can because it unmarks as soon as you go back
Oh,
to
okay.
town, right? Yeah, like it unmarks. If you continue to use it as armor, it increases your burdens at the end. But
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, then okay, I'll be fine in combat then. Okay.
Cassian, using the hasten ritual to essentially speed up everyone else's actions, is that the idea ultimately?
Yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Taking a look at the text of the ritual really quickly. Oh yeah, I think that's fine.
Small area.
Yeah, and that could be just like this cave or whatever.
Mhm.
Good. I think what could go wrong here is the only thing that could go wrong here, which is that you also hasten the splash in the bank, which could be a problem. So that's a thing. And David, you can offer the devil's bargain. Actually, let's talk skills first. Do you have I'll take spontaneity as a skill.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so David, you can offer the devil's bargain for this.
Okay. No matter what, you have to touch the creature.
Very
I'll
good.
take it.
You have 2 light and 1 dark for the ritual. Go ahead and roll. If you get a 6, you reduce its endurance by 2, which would be a great victory on this. Hey, 6 light. There you go. So this is all going to go great. The hasten works. Its endurance is dropped to 9. And you all are able to act with great quickness while the thing acts at normal speed. Let's go ahead and get weak points on the table. Even with your fast movements, say how you are vulnerable and go ahead and roll your weak point if you're doing the combat.
I think Aram is just moving fast is kind of discombobulating.
Soren is in the room and like I'm between like a rock and a hard place between fighting the wolf and keeping my distance from Soren.
Yeah, I think Soren's weak point would be that because this isn't just like regular electricity, this is like chaos electricity. Um, he would himself become chaotic. His body would start to sort of unravel.
Yeah, that's good.
Cassian's just
Oh,
maybe
you
almost.
can't do the combat, Cassian. So
Oh, I forgot. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
all right. So we've got weak points of 2, 4, and what was yours, Soren?
It is
3.
3.
Very good. And Obeha, go ahead and roll combat 3. Since you have the most on the line here. It is a 6 and a 4 and a 3. That is enough to defeat it, but the Soren and Aram both take a hit. I will tell you that the hasten ritual is a good thing here, because you were all going to discover that it is not that your physical weapons pass through its inky body and does no harm to it, but the hasten allows you to adapt quickly to try some other way of defeating it. And so do work that into your narration. But Obeha, kick off the combat. What does it look like?
I think Apeha initially tries to use their staff to like hit it, but it just passes right through. And I think Apeha like considers this for a moment about like what can they do to attack it, because most of their skills are in terms of magic or defensive. I think in order to give like a quote unquote target for everyone else, I think Obeha takes off their mask and tries to place it on the wolf to like bring it into a form of their choosing.
Oh, that's interesting. I like it. Keep that going, Aram.
Yeah, I think the creature is disoriented with this like helm being placed on it, and Iram sees the staff pass through it and it has no effect, so he just like holds up his hammer and makes this like chittering noise, and all of the rats fly off of him, leaving him like all skinny again. But they collide with the form of the beast and take little bits of it, kind of just covering them as they pass through it, because they're also fast, and they fly into the river, and like then like turn around and start like swimming back as quick as they can. But like my armor is depleted, but that also like affected the creature by reducing it.
Soren, Obeha's mask is causing the thing to essentially like be held in place and to take a more solid form. Your weapons still don't quite work, but you can strike the killing blow. What does that look like?
Yeah, I think realizing that they've got to deal with this thing to get out, he'll engage with his sawtooth blade, but as it cuts into whatever's remaining of this creature, he realizes that the weapon just doesn't work, and that's an opportunity for the creature to snap him into his jaws. And as he holds sword in its mouth, the punctured wounds on its flesh start to bubble with this electricity, and essentially he just bursts, exploding the head of this creature, and then just leaving Soren flat on his back in the river.
As soon as the killing blow is struck, you all hear a woman's voice, so loud that you can hear it even down below, but it's projecting from outside. And the voice says, "And so the land is blanketed in darkness, so that the people may face the judgment of the starry sky." And you don't know what's happening because you're underground. with this river. I will tell you that you can retrieve the soul gem that was holding the splash and the banks together. It's worth 2 gold. Whoever wants to keep that.
Who most needs some more gold? Is anyone short?
Well, 1, 2, 3. I wouldn't mind taking it. But if like Obeha wants to snatch it up, that would also be understandable.
Soren, why don't you go ahead and roll 9 gold as well?
Okay.
Or gold 9. Okay, nothing else. The creature just breaks apart into nothing, but there's the soul gem worth 2. And yeah, so who's taking that?
I think Obeha in this moment is more concerned with picking up their mask because honestly, I have like a ton of gold since you did mention that even though armor gets marked, that it still can be sold for stuff, so it's fine. I'm pretty good. I have like 9 in total, so.
If no one minds, Soren will just stand up and just throw his arms up and take the gem and keeping this and stick it into his satchel.
Cassian, the inky black river is now flecked with starlight. It is like a night sky flowing. There is an egress point of the river. What do you do?
Cassian says to the group, "We've defeated the Guardian, as I was asked. We need to see what's beyond." And he'll start walking towards that point.
Aram, Obeha, Soren?
Like the stairs that way.
Yes, we're supposed to go that way to get back to town, or whatever town is left.
I can just feel there's something valuable this was guarding. I just need to see it.
You won't like what you'll see. And Obeha is like crouched down, trying to scramble for their mask, trying to hide their face. Just, you won't like what you will become.
I don't think that really sways Cassian unless anyone really tries to pull him back.
I think my rats are just teaming up the stairs and I'm like following them.
Indeed. Soren, are you?
He'll start to follow it, but at the base of the steps, he'll look back at Cassian and say, "We made a deal. I come down here, and whatever you do helps get his house."
Yeah, I guess
Safety.
he'll, if no one else is going that direction, he'll kind of like gaze longingly at it and stand for a minute, but maybe eventually start to back up.
And so everyone's going up the stairs?
Yes.
You go up the stairs and you are surprised to find that though it was the middle of the day when you went down, it is now a night sky filled with powdery white stars up above. There is peace. There is no screaming. There is no tearing. If you work your way down the cliffside, you will see the remains of the other chaos rat. It was gigantic and had 3 heads on prehensile stalks, and it fed lustily upon the panners. But all is calm. The river water is high. A challenge for Soren, who's electric. But nevertheless, you all managed to make it back to camp and eventually back to Fort Durin, concluding the incursion. Congratulations. Never knowing what might lie beyond the Starry River. So I think at this point, we shall go into Hearthfire. I want to give you all plenty of time to look at the Hearthfire options, read them, understand them, figure out what you want to do for Hearthfire. You all should have extra money to well, you don't need extra money to establish a household or anything. It just increases your burdens, but you certainly have, you should each have some money to store for the horde, which is good. So I think we'll just take like a 15-minute break so you can take a look at Hearthfire, become familiar with the things you need to do. The first thing that happens is you have to clear your burdens in gold, and then you get to unmark your armor and any ranged weapons you had. And then from there, you can establish a household, you can store the rest of your gold, you can heal, you can do anything. You can increase your burdens to do different things if you wish, like get new skills and new spells. But in any case, we'll take 15. We'll come back at 15 after the hour and we'll do Hearthfire. A number of years from now, a cult, a radical cult of Saint Nia will rise to prominence. They call themselves the Firmament, and they believe it is their holy task to judge the sins of the people of Kalduhr, the crimes, and they will become famous for taking the so judged beneath the starry night, and they will interpret the twinkling of the stars to determine the fate of the person to be punished or not punished, almost always punished. Sometimes those people are obliterated by weapons of raw chaos energy. Sometimes they're fed to Saint Nia herself. And many years beyond that, the Firmament will go to war with Nagane. And this great war, the war of the serpent and the star, will claim many thousands of lives and will change the world in terrible and profound ways. You all had a chance to prevent this outcome had you taken a different path. And your failure to take that path, unfortunately, has condemned the future world to this. But that, of course, is no concern to you in the here and now, because you got paid. So let's go spend that sweet, sweet cash with Hearthfire. And so, the basics of Hearthfire, everyone has to clear gold or treasures equal to their burdens in order to have met their burdens and indeed to unmark their armor. So by all means, please do that.
Just a quick question. So with the gold and the burdens, if you, in my case, lose a piece that you came in with, in this case, the sewing kit, I don't take that from the burdens, though. I keep it because it's like credit, so to speak.
So this, I don't think I know what you're asking.
So I have 4 burdens, and I had that because I took on a bear trap, but then I also sacrificed my sewing kit for Kazian.
No, you don't take a burden for pulling something out of your backpack equipment. You always have those 3 slots. So
okay.
Yeah. So your burdens are equal to 1 plus your combat equipment. So you should
Okay.
have 3 burdens. You will keep, if you keep certain things, it does increase your burdens after you're done meeting your burdens. However, those things are the hand. If you keep that, that increases your burdens by 1. And I think that might be it, actually. It would have been the snake too, but you all sold the snake. So you know. Obviously, if you keep the dress as armor, that also increases your burdens if you just because it's armor. Once everyone has met their burdens, we can keep going with Hearthfire. So the most pressing thing for Hearthfire, of course, is to get your ruin reduced. If you establish a household, you get an automatic reduction of 1 ruin, plus you get to clear any conditions you wish. And you get to do that every time you return home. And so establishing a household is not a bad idea. It does increase your burdens by 1 for future incursions, but nevertheless, a thing to do. And so other things for healing, there are healing options that are free. You can do one of those, or you can spend gold, 1 per to heal. That is also an option. So I'm going to go in reverse order and start with a Rom. Rom, what would you like to do first on Hearthfire?
So I think I'm meeting my burdens and then paying to heal up, and then I think I'm just stashing the rest.
Okay. So you are meeting your burdens, you're paying to heal up, and then you're stashing hoard.
Yep.
How much did you stash?
5.
Nice. You have 2 questions you have to answer. First, where do you keep your hoard so no one can find it?
So I think I think I keep I keep it in the colony of Torellis, somewhere in Fort Durin underground. There is a great mass of rats, and I can charm them to part and remove a stone and put gold under it and put the stone back, and the rats will just be all over it. It'd be very very difficult to find.
People's revulsion keeps them away.
Yeah. And even if they cleared the rats, like, why would they flip a random brick over?
Yeah, exactly. And also, please narrate a flashback to the moment bringing freedom to Torellis became important to you.
Yeah, so I think it was when I originally found this place, when I was sent here as a rat catcher. In the midst of trying to wrangle this great mass, they started to communicate with me and tell me we are the lost city, the lost people, and the lost nobility of Torellis, and we need you, noble rat catcher, to bring our most sacred ones to the surface again, so that they might see the state of things, and so that one day you can free us from this imprisonment and return us to the land that we belong to in our true form. I think that's when I stopped being a rat catcher and started being a nest.
Nice, good. Did you do a freebie healing option or just pay money?
I just paid.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, let's go over to Cassian. Cassian, anything extra you want to do after you're done meeting your burdens?
Yeah, I'm going to open a household, and then that
Okay.
leaves me 1 gold to stash.
Okay, nice. It doesn't cost you any gold to actually open the household. It just increases your future burdens by 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you just
Cool.
bump your burdens up, but otherwise you get the household. So after you survive your first incursion, you may take out a loan for a small private house. It isn't much, but safely returning to the comforts of home heals 1 ruin and all conditions. The first time you establish your household, increase your burdens by 1. Then you do both of the following. First, what kind of structure or environment is your household? And I'll also note that, like, if you want something that's not necessarily like you would like a thing you need a loan for, the burden just comes from maintaining the place essentially. But what kind of place is it? Is it a small cottage, a decrepit church you are lovingly restoring, a series of tunnels belonging to the local thieves guild, perhaps an open air observatory so you can watch the horror of the stars as they spread across the world and condemn the world into religious horror and persecution? Which is it going to be?
So actually a combination of some things there. I think it is an abandoned storefront that is not very special, except it does have a cellar that goes pretty deep. And so I think Cassian's longer term project is expanding the cellar into like a tunnel. Just the smuggler side there, having like a back escape route and being underground and away from the stars, because I think that haunts him for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Good. I like it. And everyone else, including me, we get to add a memento to your household here. Now, this can be something that we actually saw in the adventure, or it can be something that is implied or that we just make up here on the spot. But in any case, it's just something to remember panning the last river by. Everyone think on it, and once you have an idea, let Cassian know.
I think he would have from Soren one of the sewing needles that he used to stitch up his arm.
Nice.
You'll just note all these things in the little memento section.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I'm going to say that you actually take a bottle of that inky night sky water.
I think you get like a river stone, like just from the actual river itself.
A bit of that vine that was so, I don't know, violent toward you all. I think you have a little plant of that.
A trimming through your old hateful chaos vine. Fabulous. And are you going to be stashing Horde?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that. We'll kind of check on someone else and we'll come back to that. Okay, Soren, what do you want to do for Hearthfire?
Yeah, so I'm selling up my equipment that I found to relieve my burdens, and I'm going to go ahead and raise my burdens to get a household.
Fabulous. What kind of place is it?
So for Soren, there was a temple to a sister, not Nia, but one of the other sisters, but it had been essentially taken and defiled by his cult several decades back. They've since abandoned it, but he will go there and stash his hoard, which is now 5 gold, in a crypt that is beneath the church itself.
Nice, good. I like it. Mementos.
I think you have a small shedding, a snake skin, maybe from the time you're carrying that snake around. It's like intact.
I'm going to say you were given let's say you were given like a token from that Nakanese noble so that you can prove who you are in the future to that court.
I think in an obscure place, you get a like. No, I need to think about it. Hold on.
Any thoughts, Opeha, or anything else?
I think
Oh.
While we were traveling underground, like I think Ope have found like a little fossilized like creature. I forget what those mosquitoes like in game are called, but like it's like a
Oh, they have
false
a
life.
name. Yeah, they have a name. I'll find it. It's da, 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 da. God, what are they called? That was in the jungle or the little forest thicket, right? Skier.
Yeah,
Skeer.
yeah, fossilized skier.
I think you get a small glass thing that has metal on the inside that you're able to put some of your electrical energies into.
Fabulous. So you get to reduce your ruin by 1 and clear any conditions you wish.
I'll go ahead and clear punctured flesh, but I think I'll hang on to electric for now.
Okay, sounds good. And are you gonna do anything else? You're just gonna store money after that?
Yeah, just storing the rest of my gold.
You still have 1 ruin to reduce too if you want to do something there. You can spend a gold.
Oh, I do?
Or yeah, you've got your starting ruin's 3.
Oh, I had 5. I just reduced it to 4.
You can reduce. I mean, if you want to reduce it 1 more, now's the time to do it. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay.
Yeah, like you don't get to again. So it's 1 gold, or you can spend one of these free healing options in the healing list. So
Just do 1 gold.
we'll come back to your horde in a bit, and let's go over to Obeha. Obeha, what do you want to do for your Hearthfire?
I will clear all of my burdens. I will spend gold to heal 1 of my ruin, and then I will also use my household to heal ruin, and then I'm just going to stash the rest.
Okay, you get to
Which
claim
is-
a memento from the adventure. What are you going to claim?
Mhm. I think we did like pass again with like that Nagini's like noble, and I asked like where on earth did he get those snake eggs?
Oh,
So
did you get one?
yeah.
Okay, nice. All right. Let's do all the hordes that are outstanding then. Aram, you did yours, right? So let's go over to Cassian. Cassian, how much are you storing?
Just 2.
Okay, and where do you keep it so no one can find it?
I think there is kind of an abandoned garden corner of Fort Durin where there's kind of old flagstones and statues, and it's just in terrible repair. And there's like a broken statue that I've found under the base. I've hollowed out a little hole.
Better hope no treasure hunters in games I'm running come across that statue, because they're going to know to go check the base of the statue. So,
Nice.
Someone at this very moment, probably me, is writing an incursion where your statue is a place to
Nice.
find treasure. Fantastic. And please narrate a flashback to when retrieving the lost banner of the Nameless Legion became important to you.
So I think it was maybe like not the first time Cassian had heard of the sort of myth about the Nameless Legion. Maybe in the King's Guard he'd heard someone say that their uncle or grandfather or someone was famous for being a part of this. And then later, I think among smugglers, heard the rumor again and kind of realized this was an actual faction that existed out there. And I think something about the stories of how it was their sort of ongoing quests that granted them power or like sustained life or something really kind of clicked for him, because he'd always been struggling to survive or on the run. So this sort of idea, this ideal that out there, if you find this banner, this sort of focus of their power, then that could be something that you can really stay with and be, I don't know, a weird security in that.
Nice. I like it. Thank you. And Soren, where do you keep your hoard?
Yeah, so there's a crypt. Well, actually, so we'll say that there's a series of catacombs beneath this temple, and there's a certain crypt that he goes to place the gold in.
Fantastic. And please narrate a flashback to when winning the heart of the heir apparent of Nagane became important.
So being in this temple reminds him of his early days in his cult, but time is sped up for him in his memory, and he remembers the last meeting he had with his cult when the new leader, who had taken power from the others and basically become this sort of fascist leader of this cult. He remembers that, and he remembers the fear that he had that this leader was essentially desecrating the name of this cult, and so he fled, he escaped, and he knows that in order to give power back and to be able to overthrow this current leader, that he needs a more powerful battery, a more powerful source of blood, and there's no more powerful hearts in this entire land than those of the Naganese, especially of Naganese royals. And so in order to conduct this ritual to overthrow this leader, he needs some blood. And
Fantastic, thank you. And Obeha, you've already done your 2 initial things. You have to pick one from your the rest of the list if you're storing something right now, and I think you are. So.
I'm going to pick what person, place, or thing in town regularly reminds you of your drive. I imagine that for as gloomy like Fort Dorn can be sometimes, like it seems like to be a very muddy place. Like it does like have like a body of fresh water near Fort Dorn, or even in Fort Dorn, that actually has like quite a bit of wildlife that isn't violent, which is just a very surprising detail. And it's all these sorts of living creatures, like has like little dragonflies, like it's like a pond, and it has like at night just the sound of frogs croaking.
Nice, good, thank you. Anything else for Hearthfire? Okay, in that case, that concludes our session, and let's go ahead and do stars and and wishes. Stars and wishes in this can be for the entire series as well as today. And so I will kick off and say that for today, it was a really, really good session, very action-packed, lots of big moments. I really particularly enjoyed Soren getting to be the hero, which was interesting because Soren was like definitely not the hero in previous sessions. So that was really fun. I liked this sort of terrible bargain that Cassian made with Saint Nia. I enjoyed I really liked the using the mask to help subdue the splash on the banks. I thought that was very good. And I also really liked the way the rats operated in that fight as well. I thought that was really enjoyable. I also liked the description of how the rats protect the treasure. I think that was also really good. But yeah, overall, very fun, action-packed kind of session. For the whole series, I really love this. A lot of the things that happened are things that happened that are written into the incursion, but many of the things that happened are things that happened because of checks you all were writing with Devil's Bargains. And so when we got to actually cash those checks, it was really fun to sort of see all that stuff play out. And it was fun for me as a GM to think about ways to incorporate some of these things. Like I knew if, because the Devil's Bargain was 2 rats, not 1, like that had to play out at the end, right? And so that was really fun. Or just the whole deal that was made with Team Cockatrice and like the just all that stuff, like it all like fed into the story, and I thought it was really great. And even with those changes, I felt like we really hit a lot of the themes of the incursion really well. So yeah, overall, just really pleased with it. I thought these characters were very interesting to watch, and I thought the adventure was it had this nice balance of like just sort of mundane slog and like really wild cosmic horror. So yeah, I liked all that.
Nope, go ahead.
David, go ahead.
All unmuted at the same time. Yeah, I thought that the resolution was enjoyable. The fact that Devil's Bargains led to Soren being a hero instead of a stand back thing felt appropriate. Felt like a good conclusory moment for our adventure. So I really enjoyed that was the way that it went. I enjoyed the narrations of the fight that everybody was a part of, and everybody's kind of willingness but hesitance to go down the stairs when Cassian felt like he might want to do that. I thought that was a fun kind of, we're all here to explore an adventure, even if we kind of know it's probably a bad idea. But then in the end, we kind of were like, and I don't want to know what's past this 11 endurance thing that like just seems to have made things worse. So all of that was all that felt like a good adventure, kind of a mix of Trophy Dark and Trophy Gold in some ways.
Yeah, overall star is just, this is my first Trophy Gold game, so yeah, thank you for running it, Jason. And it was a lot different, obviously, than Trophy Dark, but in a good way. And I really liked the dynamics that played out across the sessions. Everyone seemed to have a little bit of growth, and it all made sense. It didn't feel forced or anything like that. Yeah, stars for. I really liked the battle too. I liked the imagery that everyone was bringing to it, like the idea of Obeha putting on this mask to like, keep the wolf down, and those rats kind of like basically passing, taking pieces of this creature with it and washing it off in the river, and then Kazian basically, helping to bring about some kind of apocalypse or, what have you. Always a good time. Which I like too, because that's kind of like inversion of like Soren becoming a little bit of a hero at the end, and then Kazian inadvertently also kind of becoming a bit of a villain. So I really like that. But yeah, overall, it's a really good experience. Thank you for letting me be a part of it, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was very fascinating to like just see the conclusion of like literally having like saying like, oh yeah, Cassian, this is a terrible idea. We're gonna unleash something into the world that's gonna be like a total disaster. And then we got a follow-up of like, even though we didn't cross over the river to see like whatever sorts of horrible thing is down there, probably what the sister probably actually looks like, who knows. We did see like sort of a flash forward of like what's going to be happening, and it's like, yeah, like, and just how very like strange and uneasy everything felt. Just like, even though like by all rights we were out in the clear, and like once we like got out the window and like down onto the ground floor, it was like, yeah, we could like spend some time healing or whatever, but we just really didn't, because like there was like people screaming off the distance, and also the rat hydra thing. Like, oh no, that was terrible.
I mean, Saint Nia did hold up her end of the bargain as far as
Yeah.
that goes. So it wasn't a complete wash as far as freeing Saint Nia goes.
Like immediately, like our problems got solved. And are we gonna actually face the apocalypse? Who knows? Maybe not. We maybe could skedaddle, or we'll die before then. I suppose a wish I have. It's unlikely to get fulfilled, but I would like to like be able to someday see like a character make it through all the horde, or at least till they die?
I'm super close to my Saturday game. I think like we have 2 characters in my Saturday game that have like 35 in their horde, something like that. Yeah, they're doing Roots of Old Kalduhr right now, and so, but even before they got to Roots of Old Kalduhr, they were like pushing into the 30s. So, yeah, those characters have been around for a long time though. They're like going on 29 sessions or something like that. So yeah.
About to unlock trophy treasure hunter level 2.
Yeah, exactly right. Congratulations.
Super secret level
2. You've moved on from the basic set to the expert set. Yeah. But no, it is possible. But yeah, it is by design extremely unlikely. So Gabriel, do you have any stars or wishes?
Yeah, I love this series. I love all the character interaction. Great group to play with, and always love Jason's GMing and the weird additions you brought in. As a Silt versus fan, when you start talking about the river, I'm just like, yes, this is terrible.
Yeah, you can tell I've been like kind of really submerged in that lately. Yeah. Although
Yeah.
a river is a major thing about this incursion. That wasn't just
Right.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, that cosmic weirdness was amazing. I really appreciated how, I mean, we really fulfilled the desperate side of the desperate treasure hunter premise here, where there never felt like a good choice. We started just like in the muck in this awful camp. That, it felt like we were maybe just going to get stabbed in the back before we even made it out of there. And then at every turn, it was just one bad choice or another. So it was really fun to kind of have to keep pretending there was a good reason to keep going. And again, also appreciate when magic is really just bizarre and strange and dangerous. That's how it should be. And I really enjoyed that. I also like, with all of our great devil's bargains, like the group's restraint at times. Like as a player, I'm totally play to lose. I was going to walk right into that, whatever that was. But I like how the other characters are like, that's a bad idea. And like, so that little human element of like, hey, you got us into this, we got to leave. And so that reluctance, but just leaving that open of what did he miss out on? Was it actually worth it? Really, no. But it was a good story. So I had a great time. So thanks everybody.
My wish, I do think it would have been interesting if at least one character had gone into the river or through the where that starry river lets out. That would have been an interesting finale to the incursion, but it's equally intriguing that you all chose not to. That has its own like interesting implications, obviously, because I told you what the implications are. But it was fun. It's fun to think about how it might have been different. And so yeah, so that was a wish. But yeah, and I guess I just hope I get to see some of these characters again. I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities in the future, but who knows what the actual composition of the group will be, but I'm sure we'll see some of these characters again. Any other stars or wishes?
Just I really liked, and I've commented on efficiency before, but there's something really efficient about combat that I really respond to, but it doesn't lose flavor. So like getting to just very cleanly make these rolls and then have all of us as players describe what we're doing in a very kind of evocative way feels.
It actually like super bugs me in Discord when people talk about like wanting to change trophy gold combat. It bugs me to hell because like I think trophy gold combat is so good, and like it makes me feel like, have you really tried it? Like, have you really like have you done it the way it's meant to be done? Like, yeah. But sorry to interrupt you. But
no, go on. I just wanted to say that it's like it's really refreshing to just be able to roll and then have us play it out. It's not about crunching numbers, which I hate. So.
Yeah.
Well, and I like that you can like I just like that you can get a lot of combat done, like we did probably like maybe 5 or 6 combats during this whole series. That would have taken forever in a trad system. It would have been forever. Like we would not have like been able to do that much, so yeah.
Yeah, like like I really just like trophy as like a system. Like I know like people say like trophy is kind of OSR, but it's also kind of not. Like it's a very weird place. And so like it makes all the discussions around the game very either very interesting or very annoying. There is no in between. But I
It's
definitely
usually annoying.
But
As the
I
publisher of the game, it's usually annoying.
but I really liked like how the entire group has played over all these sessions because like we were all on the same page, even though we were off doing like our own things with Armand, like splitting the party, with Cassian, like getting into the basement, with Soren, who really wasn't involved with anything, but had his opinions known about everything. It was just very good. Like I don't think in any normal trad system that sort of dynamic would have worked, but in trophy it just works very well.
I have another wish. I wish we had gotten to do more with the murdered Kingsguard storyline. That didn't really go anywhere because we didn't really have a chance for it to go anywhere. It kind of was going to go somewhere if you had gone down to this flooded swamp. I had like a plan for it there, or the flooded thicket. But since we didn't do that, it didn't really kind of well, and also because you released some cosmic horror into the world, like it didn't really it lost its salience, I guess. But I would have liked to have explored that more, I guess. It would have been fun.
One final wish for me is if we do come together again, whoever hexed us into just getting the most terrible gold rolls, please lift it. I can't deal with not getting any gold for 2 encounters. It's too much.
It was actually really fun. This is like a very like treasure rich incursion, so it was actually like quite good for you all in that case. That it was, because the monster treasure really wasn't happening. So yeah,
Never had the monsters be a reliable source of like meeting your
no.
burdens. I've never seen it happen.
Although I think like, didn't you get like 4?
I got a bunch.
You got,
but
yeah.
but it's
You never-
unreliable.
Yeah, it's totally
like it
unreliable.
doesn't
Yeah.
make sense that a 1 in 6 chance always comes up like not 6.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I'm sure that I'd have to crunch the numbers. I mean, I don't know like, you know, what the probabilities are, but
I mean,
I'll be excited
yet
when I get to play this in person again, because I've got boxes and boxes of gold dice in my closet. I want to roll them. I want to roll them.
So pretty.
yeah, I mean, if you had 9 and then 8 or another 9, if you had 18 and you had 6, you know, there's 6 faces, like you should have gotten 3 at least. Like,
yeah,
you're breaking the odds there.
You know, the die roller gives and it takes. Okay. Any other stars and wishes? Okay. In that case, that will wrap our time together. Let's go ahead and wave goodbye to everybody watching the video. Goodbye, all 10 of you.